The comp cape. Nah, just kidding. Hello. So, I'm making this video because I really enjoyed making my first commentary, as, let's say, interesting as it was. I've kind of had the urge to make another one of these for a few months now, since it's been almost 4 years. I'm going to talk about what I've been up to since then, some real life stuff, and what my future plans are for this game. It'll probably be a lot longer than my other commentary video. So, like, if you don't want to watch it all, that's cool with me. Like, it's kind of a bit life story tier. So, yeah. So, to start this off, I'm frequently asked something to the effect of, why the fuck are you not Tuna Malal yet? And, it's a fair question. Like, 4 years ago when I made my last video, I had like 200 mils cooking and hunt, which were probably more than what people who are like 5.4 right now had back then. So, first of all, I was really busy with college, university, and the only times I really ever no-lifed were like on bonus XP weekends. I'll talk more about that later, but to give a better answer, I'll walk you through how close I am and what I did to get to this point. So as you can see, I'm doing some recorder lag laps at the Abyss, and yeah, I know I don't have Ethereal. I'll talk about that in a bit. So I have about 60 mil RC XP left to go, which will take a bit, but not too terribly long. And after that, I get to sit and chop teaks for like 80-something mil XP, and then I'll be done. Like, prayer I'll have done this Thursday with the Illuminati aura, div about 3 weeks from cash. I'll be done with fletching whenever the next bonus XP weekend is, so I'm looking at maybe 2 to 3 months, depending on how much I play. So I guess since my last commentary, like, I trimmed, right? Shortly after, I did fire making, which is a bit slow to use, and then I finished 120 to 200 mil DG with challenges with sinkholes, and I also started doing warbands around this time, and daily slayer mass, which eventually turned out to become full-time slaying. And there was a really long period of time where like I didn't get any 200 mils until I did summoning, which is my 5th, and which that was only like 2 years ago. So part of the reason for that is that like I was starting to realize I was pretty fucked on money for my Bibles, right? And I was never really rich on this game. Like, the money I made from my max cape was like hunting a fuckwad of red shins till like 40 mil hunt XP when I was like 14 or something, and doing 99 RC and double nats and killing like a lot of frost dragons, like 25k of them or some shit. And those methods only like lasted so long, right? Some last ditch rags to riches attempts I considered were dicing around the time that I got my max cape and floor selling back when I used to DG. So dicing didn't really work for me because even though I'd potentially get a lot of bets just by wearing a max cape in 2011, I didn't have anyone to like loan me the money for a rank or have like the connections to bypass that. And I didn't have connections because until around 2011, like, nobody knew the fuck I was. Like, I became well known because some OGs might have known. I used to post a lot on that one tidbit 200 mil all skills thread during its like peak activity. So I actually found that thread from like a Google search for overall ranks by XP, because like when DG came out, not a lot of people had 120, and then you had like legends like Zarfot and all are like stuck at some shit rank because they weren't like 120. So like even though they had the highest XP in the game, right? So what kept me reading it was that I actually wanted all 200 mils back then, like in late 2010. But I like never told anyone at that time because they'd think I was like some Erebiter Spar tier retard that spammed everyone about it, like trying to milk as much E fame as possible, right? And then like burn out before you get a max cape. So another reason that there was like a really big stigma for going for 200 mil all was that like nobody even had 2.5 bill XP at the time. So if you were like 500 mil XP like me and like you said you were going for it, people would like laugh and think you were going for rank 1 for E fame, since 200 mil all would surely get you rank 1 at that time. I mean, that's basically what happened with Swomi when he got rank 1. Like, he didn't even have to go for rank 1, he was just going for 200 mil all and then just got it as a side. So yeah, I didn't even care that much because I always knew I had it in me, since I only wanted it for the sense of game completion. Just like unlocking all rewards like on any other video game, right? And not for any like that E-fame shit, so That also kind of explains why I'm into shit like trim comp and like boss bets. Like I don't really give a shit about my rank. It's kind of just a byproduct of me completing the game, which is something I prefer to do my own way. So yeah, in a way, that thread was kind of like the fucking 4chan of RuneScape. But anyway, my friend Agent suggested on the thread that people wanting to discuss the topic in game should use my friends chat, which more or less like devolved into the circle jerk that got me friends with like 2/3 of the old 5.2 front page and like almost any other relevant player of that time period. So yeah, getting like connections, this connection, like that was never really my goal. But like, fuck, man, my FC was a blast. Like if you weren't there, 2011 or 12, like you knew that shit was always popping, right? Yeah, but it like eventually it died out, like in like late 2013, because I was always in like my Warbands FC, um, and that was like the year I started going ham on school again, so I wasn't really there to take care of it. Yeah, that kind of went to shit. So, yeah, like mid 2011 to mid 2013, that was probably like the peak of my relevance on this game, like which might explain the fact that I've been stuck at like 250 subs for like 3 years, but that's fine. But anyway, back to my money making method. So selling DG floors didn't really work out because like by the time I was actually getting pretty decent, I was like in a 7-minute floor pre EOC, which was pretty good for the time. But EOC came out and the usual group of people I went with like all quit. So before I joined Afrobros, I used to be in DGS, and although I didn't like approve of some of the stuff they did, I gotta admit they were like really really fucking good at DJing. So like what always fascinated me was I was doing like a shitty 2-stripe rank in that clan, and like the skill requirement for that rank like already set you above like 98% of the people on the theme world, like world 77 or whatever it was. Like looking back, I was a bit hesitant to go outside my comfort zone and DG with the entire clan, which kind of stalled my progress. And like by the time my DG friends quit, I had already joined Afrobros since the majority of my friends and people from my friends chat seemed to be in there. So yeah, again, I missed my opportunity for connections, and I didn't really feel like my skill was developed enough to pursue that money-making approach at that time. So what I eventually started doing for most of my money was PVM, in particular, first Glaciers and then Araxer. I'll explain in a sec why I picked this path, but first, back to my skills. So I ended up doing a fuck ton of Slayer and Glaciers, both on and off task. I think I have like 30,000 Glacier kills or some shit, like that basically funded my next 200 mil, which was summoning on bonus XP weekend 2 years ago, and Herblore, which was on the bonus XP weekend after that. So around this time, I also finished mining from Warbands and finished Slayer, Magic, and HP shortly after. I got thieving from AFKing Elves a bit after Herblore, and I also started to get into Raxor about that time, which I used to be fucking scared of. Like, I had difficulty getting comp back from it when it came out, but like, I mean, I was already 200 mil rain or 200 mil mage from Glaciers, and I didn't really feel like doing 100k of them post 200 mil mage, so I just sucked it up. Eventually learned how to kill spiders properly. Yeah, that was good. So that was what kind of really started to get my biobles going. I eventually finished all my combats on Araxer, and also from going for boss bets, and I did my biobles. I got to do all my biobles on the following bonus XP weekends, I guess, with the exception of smithing, where I hammered out swords on those artisans weekends, which I used smithing brawlers that I got from elves. So, as you can see from this little guy over here, I have fucking 5,000 kills, which I know seems like a lot, but it's only like 600-700 hours or something, which is peanuts compared to my total time played anyway. And it really did save my ass in terms of keeping up with my buyables on every bonus XP weekend. I really only have like fletching left, and that's already banked, so I'm pretty much set. So, why did I choose PVM to make my money? So, I'll have to admit, I was inspired by some people. But first, I fanboyed over Wooks for obvious reasons. Like, he destroyed those bosses like it was nothing. And I wanted to be like that. Like, I mean, what was that Pernix body soul he got? Like 600 mil or some shit in 2011. Like, fuck, man. I also liked his music. That was cool. Like, hardstyle became pretty much my favorite genre just because I listened to his music. And I kind of usually dig whatever music RuneScapers use. Like, when I watch Bullseye's DG videos, I got into Dead by April, and like, When I was learning Araxer next, I watched Damn Cat's videos a lot, like before I got banned, and like I got into his sort of like wacky future house stuff. That was cool. But after he got banned, I started watching You Got Lit Up's videos, and I usually ended up liking most of the songs he uses. Like he doesn't really focus on a certain genre. He kind of like picks like top quality songs from like a couple different of genres. So that was interesting. But anyway, I remember reading a lot of stories on like fan sites like Zyabez or something of people getting 200 mil range at Arma and making bank. I also heard that if anyone remembers like Sora, like he or she, it's probably a dude, but I have a lot of respect for them anyway. Like they made a ton. Apparently, I heard that they made a ton of money doing Next for 200 mil range, and I was like, damn, I want to do something like that. Make bank from a 200 mil. So another skiller slash PVMer that I guess you could say inspired me was I Trolled You. Like he made fucking bank at Virago and used it for top page. Like he also helped me get my trim back twice. I remember going on his Ventrilo like 3 years ago after watching some of his kills on stream, and they let me tag along and get my mall trim rec done. Like he also let me leech a rot skill when that became a trim requirement too, because like I didn't know how to do that shit. So yeah. Also, all the people in my Warbands FC back in that day, they did Virago with that same group of people, and I kind of wanted to like be a cool kid like them, but I was pretty terrible at PVM back then, and that was really just the result of me like not willing to put in the time to learn proper ability rotations and boss mechanics, because like really all I wanted to do during that time was just like AFK while studying for my classes. Like I wasn't really willing to learn anything new at that time. So now you might be saying, that's cool and all, but wouldn't it like have been more efficient to merch or farm dragon pickaxes on 10 accounts? And you'd be right. So, merging. This is probably a regret of mine. Like, honestly, I was just too lazy to really get into it. Like, I did a bit at times, but it was pretty insignificant. I guess like I was too impatient to wait on some flips that would like make a small fraction that I could make by getting lucky at Araxer and getting some instant gratification leg drops. Even though yeah, flipping is essentially lossless time, but that was kind of the psychology behind the laziness, I guess you could say. And another thing, I wasn't ever really a big investor because I ended up spending the vast majority of my cash pile every time a bonus XP weekend came around. But hey, like I've made it this far, and that's really what matters to me right now, even if it was kind of dumb. But anyway, now, good topic. Now, making money in alt. So some people get really mad when I talk about this, but here we go. So let me just be clear. I don't give a shit how you make your money or what you do in this game. But there was a period of time where I did, and like pretty significantly too. So, 5 to 6 years ago, when I paid close attention to the top players on that Tippet thread, I was like really critical of anything sketchy they did to achieve the rank. And I used like the Jackie's official rules as my guide for this, and many people at the time did as well. So, for example, stuff like donations wasn't against the rules, and neither was dicing for like this first few months. So I didn't call people out like for that. But stuff like multi-logging and account sharing was frowned upon, so I got at them for that, right? So it was actually pretty common, like, for people to look down on these things back then. Like, people knew Jagex didn't want to force everyone to play in 5 accounts at once in order to compete, right? That's why they had the rule. They also, like, said the same thing about pay-to-win gaming, but hey, look at that one. So, for example, like, one of the top players that was looked down upon for stuff like this was Dragon Sands, like, the leader of efficiency experts. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to shit-talk anyone. Like, I actually have massive respect for the dude for, like, getting his rank, the rank that he did, while managing a college degree and like all of the achievements his clan has done. But around 5 years ago, like rumors started going around from like the OGE people, guys that like I knew from Tip before they even made the clan, about like how he was maxing people's accounts for money and like using alts to make money and like hold avatars and run frostbones and shit. Like other stuff that like nowadays would seem like nothing. But anyway, I've heard like worse things like about different rules they did too, but that's all in the past now. I'm not gonna harp on that. But like now, players that started like within the past 5 years, they don't really get this, but other top pagers back then that I talked to, and like believe me, I knew most of them, like didn't approve of this stuff either. And like eventually his clan kind of, I guess you could say, caused like a paradigm shift, like of how this is viewed, which essentially like led to like the legalization of like using alts 2 years ago. So like at this point, like I pretty much dropped the case entirely. Like everyone in my clan was doing it. It's like, why the fuck should I care? I mean, it's not even against the rules anymore. Like the main reasons why I didn't start doing it once it became legal was that I was having like fun making money with PVM. Like I felt that that was like a more enjoyable path for me, and that I'd feel like a bit of a hypocrite since I used to be against it so much. So like the bottom line is I got this far without it, so might as well finish it, right? Like I mean, I actually encourage people to like use alts. I mean, it is the most efficient way to play the game, and like most people don't really have any past history of being against it like I was, and like I even make some exceptions. Like if someone wants to give me more men supplies on their alt or something, it's like it's not like I'm gonna say no, right? Like I used to have this kind of negative attitude toward EE back then, but during like last bonus XP weekend, like at their Citadel, I got to meet some of the newer members, and I guessed in their clan chat for a few weeks after as well. They're like really nice people. I ended up actually liking them quite a bit. Like I'll definitely be visiting their Citadel again next bonus XP to finish off fletching my last Bible. So buying spins for me is kind of like the same deal, right? So before bonds, it used to be a pay-to-win thing, which is like literally against and not against the rules at the same time, since it was real world trading, but it was approved by jackers, right? So after bonds introduced like a non-real world trade way to do it, it started to become even like more mainstream, and like just like with alts, I accepted it, and I just chose not to participate since again I got this far without them. That's why I don't have like ethereal or like most of the newer skilling outfits. And for the record, like even though I'm talking about it now, like I literally never talk about this shit in game anymore. Like maybe only a brief explanation if somebody asks why I don't farm dragon picks on alts, or and like even then I usually just try to say I like killing Rex or it's more fun, you know. So back to PVM, I'm pretty happy like that I managed to get fairly decent at it. As I used to be like it used to be like very scary and frustrating for me. Like, I mean, I went from not being able to kill a Raxer and having to like leech rots from my comp rec, like, to where I am today, which actually gave me a big confidence boost. Yeah, I don't regret taking this path because I really feel like I developed a skill that's like widely respected in the community these days. And like a long time ago, no one really respected PVMers that much, since like most bosses didn't really have any mechanic. You like just click the thing and AFK'd, right? So I mean, now there was a few exceptions, like Wooks, who was just so fucking good at micromanaging his supplies and prayers, but pre-ERC, there wasn't really that much skill involved. People respected skillers like Zarfot, like Foot, XPTK, or anyone in their group of friends, and a lot of people before them as well, or people that trained things like runecrafting like really, really fast, because back then that's what actually took skill and reflexes to do. So like, let's take Zarfot. In addition to that, Zarfot destroyed the GE merchanting scene pre-free trade. He discovered a bunch of shit about the game engine, ticks, new training methods, and he had like 2.5 bill XP like 6 years ago. And like on top of that, he made those like funny text-to-speech extra normal videos. Excuse me. And like he still like aced all of his exams and schooling and stuff in real life, so that was just really impressive. People looked up to that type of stuff back then. So, in addition to like pay-to-win gaming, like pretty much ruining skilling, like skills got more and more AFK, which really eliminated the need for any extensive use of mouse keys or any sort of fast reflexes. And like the introduction of like the EOC ability rotations and some of the new bosses open up like a whole new world for adding like actual skill in like the PVM scene, right? So over time, skilling and PVM roles in terms of respect have kind of been reversed. Like, I mean, right, like 10 years ago, skilling took skill and like PVM was like just, okay, let's go click bandits and fap for 6 hours. Right now, it's literally the exact opposite. So yeah, also, by choosing this path, I've kind of given myself a bit of a head start on people who are like already 5.4 and have yet to start PVMing or going for boss bits because like what else are they going to do, right? So now, of course, there are like some people with 200 Malal who are like really good. Like I know, like Omid DXN, like Mahukas have IFB, and like then you also have like I trolled you and that Y person who like made like fucking 4 Telos weapons already, and he's like the highest KC in the game. But I consider myself good for someone like at BVM for someone with over 5 mil XP. So yeah. But like compared to people who have been doing this like way longer than me, however, like I don't think I'm that good. Like maybe like average to mediocre, like eh. But like the only boss I consider myself really good at is of course the Raxer. Like I know I uploaded some video of me trying to get like a fast kill for an hour using like a dummy in Sarah book like maybe 2 months ago or some shit. But like I've gotten better than then, and like I actually managed to beat that like on a casual kill with Brawler. Like before that I was using Zerker, I think, which was like a 330 top solo, which isn't like amazing, but it's like I think it's like good, I guess you could say. Like I think my best casual mid solo was like 340 something, I can't remember, like mid high, I don't know. And like my best casual bottom I know was 451. Like so like now I think those are pretty impressive, but like if someone came here like that really knows what they're doing, then yeah, they might see otherwise, but I think it's pretty decent. So now you can kind of say like why I kind of worship PVM is like the skilled art where you can just go play like CS:GO or StarCraft or something, which takes like a million times more APM, right? I mean that's fine, but like the way I see it is I'm not really ever gonna invest a lot of time like in being super proficient at a different game that wouldn't benefit like my RuneScape career, because like I've already spent a lot of time doing that at RuneScape and I'm like happy where I am. Like besides RuneScape's really my type of game, right? Like I can click kind of fast, but in reality it's not my strong point. My strong point is definitely my endurance. Like the first 25 hours of like last bonus XP weekend, I stayed up, did 200 more construction in one go, like without even using mouse keys or anything. I only slept like 10 hours that weekend too. Like I also remember I did shit like I got rank 1 artisans weekend like for last year's May artisan event too, and like that was pretty intense. So another reason I got into bossing was that like getting pets satisfied that sort of true trim game completion urge that some people have, you know. So yeah, it's like funny. It all started with me doing some Araxer on the side and killing Bandos, like, and some other God Wars bosses to finish my combat stats after Slayer. So like I started getting pets, and then I got into this whole fucking mess, and now I have all of them except Telos and Viragos. But it was worth it. Like pretty good. It was pretty good money GP, and definitely one of the most fun things I've done this game. So I guess for my total GP breakdown, I've probably made about 3 bill on like boss pets. Like Nex was really good. It's probably 7 to 8 bill on Naraxor. It was a lot. It's like 2 bill on Glacers, maybe 500 mil from Frosts when I was going for Max Cape. A bill from Skilling, a bill from Slayer, maybe 500 mil to a bill from QBD, I guess, and like maybe a big bill and a half from donations now. Might get some hate from the donations bit, but I've never publicly asked for anything, and if people notice my potential, I want to put their money towards a good cause, it's not like I'm gonna say no, right? So, I'm 3 pets off Insane Final Boss, like Telos, Vitalis, Bombi. I know like Vitalis is like 90% of it, but hey, whatever. But and yeah, I'm eligible for Bombi right now as well, so I'll put pictures, my boss KC tab, my kill count tab in the description, just in case you're wondering. So, as you can see in the pictures, I'm like a few raids off a regular final boss, since I started raids a bit late. I wasn't willing to get cancer from like raids FC, so I kind of just held off until I had a perm team, right? So I'm gonna give a shout out to Jack, also known as Chippy, someone I met from my FC a while back, for hooking me up with a good perm team for raids. I also want to give a shout out to LVG Friends Chat, which is where I hang out with all of them these days. So I remember like 2 days, like 2 days after I started doing Virago, like they asked me to come hard mode and get defeater, and I was like, dude, no, what the fuck? I'm 12 kill count, and I don't know how to do any rotations besides like team split, because that's what week it was. And they're just like, nah, you're coming. So, man, all I can say, that was interesting. Like, I had no clue what was going on, like, half the time. I remember on Purple Bomb, I tanked the entire phase. It's like 1k extra, like 100 extra damage per tick repeatedly. It was retarded. And I tanked like 50k damage by being on the wrong side of the map, and I somehow still survived. Like, I ate. Like, they were like, how much food did you use? And I was like, all of it. But anyway, I didn't make it too far after that, unfortunately. But we got a kill eventually, and I told them I'd buy them all beers for that if we ever met, so that was fun. So even though, like, all the people I hang out with there, they're all in this clan called Mother Duckers. I actually guess in a different clan, which is kind of like a secret hideout, more or less. So you've probably seen it in a few of my tournament videos, but it was a Castle Wars clan that I came by following around my friend Comment, who's like, it's like the best Castle Wars player on RS or something. So eventually, the clan died out to the point where there's like literally one active member, but there's been these four guys from Shoe Zone, which is a clan, um, that have been guesting there for like about as long as I have, which is like a year. So, well, only like three of them actually are still in Shoe Zone because one of them is like a spastic that switches clans every 5 seconds. But if you know Couchy, I like to give him a special shout out. Like he's really fucking good at PVM. First to kill Telos at like 800% in Rage. He's probably helped me the most out of anyone at getting better at PVM. Like he's sarcastic a lot, so you might think he has like some sort of ego, but he's really a super nice and helpful guy. And also shout out to the other three guys, Relica, Simply Karma, and Jespu. They're pretty cool. They've always been helpful when I was learning new bosses like Nex and Brago. So um, while I'm giving shout outs, I might as well give one of my clan Afro Bros, right? Just for being cool all these years, like I mean, if you can fucking put up with me for 4 whole years, like that's pretty impressive. Like you guys know who you are. I mean, like damn, if you made it this far, like into this video, like that's impressive alone. So another thing people have said, like, why does your screen setup look like AIDS? Okay, great. So give me a break, man. I have a laptop, but it is getting old and like not really running that great anymore. So yeah, I can't really play on Java effectively because my CPU is like dog shit and thermal system like sucks dick because like it bottlenecks all my processing power, and my laptop was like the first model of its series, which is like actually infamous for its like shitty thermal system. Like I've done a lot of fan cleans and thermal repasting, like which used to help a lot, but now it's to the point where they don't really help anymore. And about like once every day or two, the thing overheats and I have to restart it. So like about 8 times out of 10, whenever I want to shut down the thing, I have to like force restart it. And like I literally like click shut down, like slept 8 hours, and the thing is like still trying to shut down. So yeah. Anyway, NXT has been okay for me since like it actually utilizes your graphics card properly, but it's more buggy and has less of an error tolerance in PVM than Java does. Like you have to be like on point with all your abilities, or like a res won't register in time if you do it too late. So yeah, something I wanted to do for a while was build a really good desktop. Like it'd be sick to play max FPS, max detail with Java and NXT while doing a lot of stuff, like other stuff in a different monitor, and to actually like have a professionally looking interface for PVM, like with a bigger screen. Like right, and I can barely do this right now with this recorder lag. It's just bad. So I kind of wanted to hold off making this video until I finished that, but I didn't want to drop $1.50 on like a sick build without having a secure, well-paying job first. Like I've been kind of hesitant on buying one. Like even though I'm done with college university, like I just work part time. Like right now at this learning center, which like doesn't even pay as much as I was making like as an undergraduate research assistant. But like one thing that's been bugging me for a bit is that I've been kind of struggling to get my first technical job in my field. So like, I think there are a couple of reasons like why I've been having difficulty with this. But first of all, it's not because I studied something with like a bad market. Like I did engineering, which believe me, it wasn't easy. So like, back in high school, like grade 11, like I used to have kind of an ego, and I took more classes than I could handle, like for the sole purpose of competing with people. Like in year 12, I took fucking like 6 advanced placement classes, which are like A levels, which is like really fucking stupid because I was nowhere near smart enough to handle all this shit, and I ended up burning out like a third of the way through the year. But yeah, unfortunately, like burnout like carried to my first semester of university, and like the results weren't pretty, which is unfortunate since I was at arguably like the best like university in my state. But whatever. It's not that like the work was too difficult. Like it was just like I was just at a point where I had like a general lack of motivation for everything, and I felt I didn't need this. Like I wasn't even motivated on Escape at the time either. Like all I did was like do Hunter for a day, gain 15, like 10, 15 ranks, and then go to bed and lose 20 ranks overnight. And so like fuck this shit, and then like sit at Castle Wars for like the next 3 days and like shitpost on the high level forums, which some people might know me from. So like if I wanted to make a well thought out post, I'd go to like the Tournament all thread. But like if I wanted to like shitpost, I went to HLF. I mean, like some of my HLF posts were well thought out, but like back then most of them were like nah, not really. So I wasn't like really even making that much progress on like RS or IRL during this time. Like I was just unmotivated. Like RS did kind of put the nail in the coffin though, since it fucked up my sleep, and then I ended up missing some exams and shit. So, ended up eventually ended up dropping out. Like after that semester, I did some minimum wage stuff. Decided to take some classes at a local community college for a bit and get my act together. So yeah, eventually, I finally did go back to the good school I dropped out of, and I really gave it my A game. Like I was full of motivation. I wanted to catch up, so I basically like blitzed through the whole thing. Did all my core classes in like 2 years for like a 4-year degree, and did my electives and minors in 1 year. And I had to take like full course loads each summer and everything. So I remember like about 2 years ago, I had I had a lot of fun going for Tournament Slayer, since like not only was I at the peak of XP gaining, but I was also taking my favorite classes at the same time, and I was making the best grades I ever got, despite how difficult they were. Like, it was like the complete opposite of my first semester, where I was making like zero progress both on Mars, RuneScape, and like real life. So I was like the best of both worlds, kind of. So, and that was cool and all. There are like two parts of this that sort of fucked me in the ass. Like, firstly, I know most schools around the world and even America can like just replace your grades if you failed something, but like retook it. But like like mine didn't, and like the failed classes kind of screwed over my overall average, which is kind of making it hard to get a job. But anyway, since I was trying to catch up by doing summer classes, I didn't really have time to do an internship. And like I did intern with the school itself twice, but it wasn't like an actual external company. Also, another thing, if you like get right now, give me like a personality test. Like it would say I'm about like 2/3 introvert, 1/3 extrovert, and like shit like interviews where there's like pressure and like that can like really tire me out. Like I could put on a good act in an interview, but there's always gonna be like some awkward moment that might fuck me over. Like I didn't realize how important connections were for getting your first job. Like I had a little bit of a life like back then. Like I went out every few weeks like to drink and stuff, but nothing like super substantial. Like I really just wanted to fucking play RuneScape, I think, in my free time. So well, like this might seem like an unfortunate situation. Like it'll all be like a thing of the past once I get an actual job, because then I'll be making fucking bank, am I right? So yeah. Like if anyone works at an engineering company in the US, United States, feel free to hook me up all. You can tell them I'm almost 5.4, right? That'll get me in. So yeah, back to RuneScape. So people have kind of asked if I'm gonna have a 5.4 party. Well, I always plan to, but like over the past year or two, like so many fucking people have got it. Like I don't even know if people would be willing to come. Like I feel my trim party was basically like the peak of the amount of people that would come see me like get something. But if anyone's like still wants to go to like see me get 5.4, I guess just let me know in the comments or something, and I'll like just have something for anyone who wants to see. So right, like after 5.4, I'm gonna finish off Insane Final Boss first by going for the Warden title again, and then making a tier 92 staff by camping maybe like 0 to 300% enraged Telos or something. Like once I get good at that boss and learn it properly, like I tried to go for the title earlier, but like I suck at this game and I kept dying at like 330% or something stupid. So like it was getting in the way, so I'm putting that on hold till I max finish 5.4. So hopefully by then I'll have that pet, and then I can go to Virago for Vitalis and Bombi, and that'll be a wrap. So I thought about going for like a lot of true trim stuff, but like I kind of started to get interested in that after Master Questscape came out, right? But like there's so much stuff I really doubt I'll ever come close to. Like, but I mean that's what I'll probably end up doing, is like a failsafe. Like if I have time to kill, right, just do some true trim shit. Like Like maybe if I'm waiting on like a Virago team, I could like train some Slayer while going for like the Edemu and like Shadow Creature pets, or like maybe the Rune Dragon outfits, or some of the skilling pets. It's kind of stupid how I'm almost fucking tuning them all, and then they release these skilling pets, but whatever. Like, okay, so to wrap this up, like if you watch this whole thing, like give yourself a well-deserved pat on the back. Like I don't think I'll ever make a video this long again. It's just that like I haven't made one in 4 years, so I had to catch up on a lot of shit. So right now I don't have any plans for another commentary, except maybe if I get like a new computer, or if my post 5.4 plans change, or if I like punch someone at RuneFest and get banned or some shit. You never know. So yeah, thanks for watching. Later.